Hey guys, welcome to another English commentary done by Diggity. This is OSL R16 match between Jaedong and Stork, and it's gonna be a fantastic one. Stork, just probably the number 2 protoss right now. I'm gonna call him the number 2 protoss, just because he's just below Bisu, and I think in 5-on-5 matchups, every once in a while, I think he wins one against Bisu. He just can't beat Savior, and I think that's the difference. Is Bisu has just been trouncing Savior left and right, where Stork has not been able to. Stork right there at the 3 o'clock position in purple, and Jaedong at the 6 o'clock position in, I think it was green. We'll see that color again in just a second here. Anyway, this is sorry for getting this out so late. I was intending to do this earlier, but basically I was kind of holding off because I wanted to do the Mind vs. Mania set before I did this. This was going to be my reward for finishing it. I just actually about 20 minutes ago finished Game 4 of Mind vs. Mania, and this is kind of that relief, a nice Protoss versus Zerg, which is one of my favorite matches. Actually, I think Terran versus Zerg is my favorite, but Protoss versus Zerg on Persona, and I haven't seen anything but Terran versus Terran matches on Persona thus far, so this should be very interesting. This is the map where you have those neutral Dark Swarms, and really this is kind of, I think, the most fascinating matchup for that, just because you're going to end up seeing Lurker Ling play. Hydralisks are kind of not as useful because of that Dark Swarm, likewise. Dragoons not as useful, but Zealots, Dark Templar, Psystorm, we're going to see a lot of that sort of action here. And with the proximity here, I wouldn't be surprised if Jaedong might decide to go kind of early air. It looks like Stork getting that gateway down instead of going to do an early kind of forge build. I wish I could build Korean. I think there was some sort of joke there in the background. And it looks like Jaedong is going to spot Stork's base almost immediately. It looks like Jaedong going for an early expand. And really, yeah, this should be a really interesting matchup. I'm going to look forward to some interesting micro and some definitely interesting macro. Jaedong, a fantastic player. Stork, also equally just a great player. Both guys way up there. And actually, I would call this the 2-on-2 battle. I already talked about how Stork I put right below Bisu, but I put Jaedong right below Savior as well, kind of in that standing. Even though Jaedong beat Savior more recently, I think Savior is kind of a more well-rounded player in general. At least, I think he's better at kind of ending games quickly, and a lot of early gas going down for Stork, but Stork getting spotted out by Jaedong with that early Overlord, and so I think Stork might be going straight into Dark Templar. It looks like he might be getting a Dragoon out, but I don't think he's going to bother even producing Dragoons. Maybe produce 1 or 2 Dragoons to kind of protect his front, but I would expect very quickly to go directly into Dark Templar, basically to deal with that Dark Swarm, maybe block his front otherwise. Not going with that early expand, which kind of, I'm surprised by that. Maybe he's going directly into Corsairs, which is another option. For seeing early Corsairs without that second expansion, looks like Jaedong's going to go into a 3-hatch build. Not going to do the 3-hatch kind of expansion build where you take the additional res, which kind of leaves you more vulnerable and spread out, a single Zealot being produced. And yeah, going directly Corsairs, not even going for the second expansion, going to go directly Corsairs, which is going to force Jaedong to kind of, I don't think he's going to be able to get a Spire up in time, so it's going to force Jaedong to go Hydralisks here very quickly, which I like that strategy on Stork's part, because basically, even though he has a second expansion, has kind of the economic advantage, because he's forcing Corsairs early. That's going to force Hydralisks, and then he can immediately switch into High Templar with Psystorm, which, if in the hands of Stork, a very good player, he can absolutely kind of destroy that, or otherwise go Dark Templar very early and get rid of those Overlords, and Dark Templar and Hydralisk is not a great combination either. Oh, man, did you take out a drone there? But basically, Hydralisks on the ground. Hydralisks not very good in Dark Swarm. They're not a very effective unit on this map, so very good strategy coming out for Stork. And really, we'll see. He's going to try to come back and get that spot, and you can see a Dragoon coming up. I'm surprised he put out a Dragoon, and the Zergling should be able to take that Dragoon out pretty easily. Enough Zerglings out on the ground. That Zealot, yeah, pulling back in the meantime. Yeah, a couple of units being produced by Stork. He's starting to push up to basically force Jaedong to produce more Zerglings than worrying about kind of air units. And Jaedong, in the meantime, basically forcing micro. He has gone Hydralisks. Again, Hydralisk not as effective, and that first Corsair is out, and I don't see any Hydralisk down yet. So let's see if he ends up losing that Overlord, and I would expect he's going to produce a second Corsair right there. And yeah, there's the Citadel of Adun. He's immediately going to go into Dark Templar. That drone now spotting that out, and really, I think he could have predicted that strategy, that Hydralisk out, but I don't think it's in time to save that Overlord. That Overlord, in fact, going down right there. But basically, this is going to. I'll be surprised if Jaedong comes out with this win here. because Stork, a very ingenious, a very creative strategy for a map of this sort, in my opinion, kind of going directly. I mean, Dark Templar Corsair would be strong in this anyway, but doing it so early, kind of forcing those Hydralisks, not giving Jaedong an opportunity to kind of go air and use kind of Zerglings, and blocking off his ramp, so basically the Zerglings can't force up in the meantime. I think that's really clever, and he's going to try to force through with the drone, take out those two Zealots, and does manage to sneak that drone through, just kind of forcing the grouping up and open it up a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's going to be effective enough. Two Zerglings do slip through, but that's not going to be an effective enough force to really do anything. Another gateway going down, and that Citadel, or I'm sorry, the Templar Archives going down, so Dark Templar coming in shortly. It doesn't look like any more Corsairs being produced. Now, Stork's one flaw in this is he needs to be careful that he doesn't get locked out of his secondary, because if wow, Jaedong doesn't have a Hydralisk, it looks like, to deal with that second Corsair up. Now he's brought that Corsair. Man, Stork almost losing that Corsair. He needs to be careful. But really, an interesting option also would be kind of Zealots there, and right there, Stork doing what he needs to do, getting that second expansion down. He needs to make sure that Jaedong doesn't take that second expansion out of his hands. Forge going down now. But I think Jaedong could very well, at this point, yeah, he's going Spire now, take that second expansion out of his hands. You can see Stork immediately trying to get some cannons down at his main to kind of protect against that Mutalisk harass that's going to be coming in not too long for Stork, and maybe a couple Scourges up to take that down otherwise, and we'll see, because basically I would expect Jaedong to kind of adjust at this point as soon as he gets that Spire up, as soon as he has some sort of anti-air for those Corsairs, to immediately switch into kind of basically Lurker build and go Lurkers, because Lurkers plus Dark Swarm, very effective against almost everything. And really the other key for Jaedong, I think, is getting that Overlord speed upgrade. He needs to be able to spot those Dark Templar should they come out in the field. And the next question is, yeah, as you can see, Stork trying to get in the upper left-hand corner. It looks like Jaedong did. I'm not sure if he spotted it out or what, but he's going to go on the upper left-hand corner. He needs to be careful with that Dragoon there. Yeah, as you can see, that Dark Templar now out, so those Zerglings going to have to pull out. They're going to try to attack out in the area, and he's going to have to pull them back. Again, he doesn't have Detectors out at the moment to deal with that Dark Templar. Like I was saying, he needs to get that speed upgrade, and so he can basically deal with that. Dark Templar moving into that Dark Swarm, going to hold it. And a Standard Templar being produced, but it looks like it's going to be taken out by those Zerglings. That's a little bit of a hit. That's a big gas cost on Stork. And wow, the Zerglings doing a very effective harass. It looks like those cannons almost up, losing a few more Zerglings to that Dark Templar, and just kind of run around. That was a very good Zergling harass by Jaedong, and I think that's going to give him time again to kind of, yeah, he's got those Scourges up, and now I think he has that opportunity to immediately kind of go and try to go and take that secondary out of Stork's hands, which is what he needs to do right now, and go into kind of the Lurker build. More Dragoons being produced by Stork, and I think that's a mistake. Those, yeah, it's not very effective. Wow, I'm surprised that Dark Templar survived in that Dark Swarm there. I'm surprised those Zerglings didn't take care of it. But now we see Mutalisks up, and the question is are we going to see Mutalisk harass at the secondary, supplemented by Zerglings here? One cannon going up, but one cannon I don't think is going to be able to stop this. And again, Dark Templar can attack air. It doesn't look like any more Corsairs are out, so these Mutalisks are going to be mostly unabated. They're going to attack those Corsairs, or I'm sorry, they're going to attack those Dragoons. Really, he doesn't even need to deal with those Dragoons. They're going to have a hard time moving in between those pylons. Just go up and attack the secondary. I'm surprised he even bothered there, but now those cannons up. So basically, wow, taking a couple of those, just going to hunt those Dragoons. I'm surprised he's doing that. An Archon going up, that's really what Stork needs to get down. He needs to get that Archon going to deal with those Mutalisks. And very quickly, I'm surprised that Jaedong hasn't already switched into kind of that Lurker build. Stork is definitely ahead technologically, in my opinion. He does have those Dark Templar. I'm sorry, Jaedong does have those Overlords out, but really he's not doing what he needs to do at this point, in my opinion. He's not denying the secondaries. That Overlord detecting that Dark Templar are just going to chill there in that Dark Swarm until these Zerglings, and really 2 Zerglings is not going to be enough, and those 3 Zerglings is not going to be enough, and that Dark Templar is just going to be able to rain down now. Wow, a little bit of a mistake there. I think Stork thought he was protected on that corner, was not protected on that corner. But yeah, Mutalisk harass coming in again. Doesn't look like there is a bit of tech exposed to the north. And let's see if he decides to hit that tech. And still going with the Hydralisks, even though it doesn't look like think any more Corsairs are being produced. Robotics facility going up. So Stork, I'm surprised, not dedicating to really Templar or Archons or wow, Jaedong losing a lot of Mutalisks there. That hurts a lot. But not really dedicating to any one thing, but kind of diversifying. Probably going to go for Reavers at this point. Get those oh, that was a little bit of a mistake there. Almost losing a lot of Hydralisks there. Pulling the Hydralisks back at this point. And again, I'm still surprised that we haven't seen the Lurkers. The fourth hatchery going down. Now the question is in the later game, I think this has swung significantly into Stork's favor. I think as soon as Stork has a dropship and a Reaver out,